Yes, my dear friends. Welcome back to the channel. A very good day to you guys all out there. Well, it's Monday, the most difficult day of the week. And as we all know, tomorrow, Tuesday, is going to be Chelsea-Benfica. Chelsea-Benfica in the Champions League. So therefore, later today, Maresca will be speaking to the press. And we are waiting for an update. But quickly, what is actually happening with the club setup? What is the ownership saying about Maresca? Listen, guys. Let me just say this. Our game against Benfica permitted Jose Mourinho to even issue certain statements, to make certain, to use certain words. And I understand him perfectly, especially as a legend of the club. Mourinho, he has every reason and every right, like you and I, to make statements concerning Chelsea. Though he's no longer our coach, but he's part of the build-up of this club. Yes. Whether you like it or not, you might say now Jose is no longer the super coach that we know him or the special one we know him to be. But hey, he left his mark on Chelsea. And let me start before I go to Maresca and Chelsea hierarchy. What is the club saying? Is Maresca going to be sacked? Before I go into that, ladies and gentlemen, Jose Mourinho said Maresca arrived and step by step, the puzzle was made. Even the Conference League is a fantastic competition for a team like that to win. That is like Chelsea to win. Remember, Mourinho himself won the Conference League with Roma. Yes, he himself, his first season with Roma, he won the Conference League. So don't forget. So he's not in any way underrating the Conference League. Two, is that it gives you the first cup and the philosophy and the culture of the club for winning. It gives you the philosophy and the culture of the club for winning. If you cannot win the Premier League, you win something. So they won the Conference League. This is Jose Mourinho speaking. He said, then they go to the States and come back with a big badge. You see the respect? They came back from the States with a big badge on the chest. So now they have a good team. Now they have a good team. Jose is saying that he and his Benfica team, they are coming to meet a very good Chelsea team. Ladies and gentlemen, it not just ended. He said, post-Abramovich era, this is what he said. He said, then there was a big change with crazy investments. There was a big change with crazy investment regarding the change under Abramovich to this new ownership. There was a big change with crazy investment and a period of a few years where it looked like they lost direction. With too many players, too many millions, accumulation of players and a team without a clear philosophy. For a couple of years, it was hard. It was just a year though. For one that loves the club, it was hard. For the person that loves Chelsea, it was hard for the person to take. I believe this was the first statement before he said what I read earlier on. He says, for someone like him that loves Chelsea, and for many other fans, it was hard for us to take. A difficult moment for Chelsea lovers, including himself. Ladies and gentlemen, would you begrudge Jose Mourinho for this statement? No. Has he got a right to make this statement? Yes. He has every reason and every right. He said, Chelsea, Abramovich Chelsea. Jose speaking again. Chelsea, Abramovich Chelsea. And he continued, he said, my Chelsea. The Chelsea we built and lasted for many years was a winning club. Chelsea, Abramovich Chelsea, my Chelsea, the Chelsea we built and lasted for many years was a winning club. It was winning everything with me, and then with Carlo Ancelotti, with Antonio Conte, and with Thomas Tuchel. Chelsea was a winning machine. Every season, Chelsea was winning. Yeah, he forgot to mention Roberto Di Matteo, who won the first Champions League for us. Though he was an assistant coach, the coach was sacked and he had to take over. And within that short period, he won the Champions League for us, ladies and gentlemen. So Mourinho is saying that under all these coaches, Chelsea was a winning club, having a winning mentality. Now he said, then there was a big change with crazy investment and a period of a few years where it looked like they lost direction. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are facing Jose Mourinho tomorrow, Champions League football, where Chelsea actually belong. We are back to the league of big clubs. Remember, our last game in the Champions League was last week against Bayern, of which we lost. In a very mysterious way. That game against Bayern, Chelsea shouldn't have lost the game. Because we were in a game from the very beginning. But hey, mistakes and errors. I believe that tactically, Maresca just got that game wrong. And it was, for me, it was Maresca's first game in the Champions League, ever, as a coach. Maresca's first game in charge of a big club like Chelsea, ever in the Champions League. So I will not count it for him at all. Now, facing Benfica tomorrow, this is where I would begin to count for Maresca. Now, in terms of injury situation, I will expect to get an update. That we'll have an update from Maresca later today. But it is not just Chelsea that is struggling right now with injury. Ladies and gentlemen, the two clubs that played in the finals of the Club World Cup, yes, PSG, are equally suffering from injury. Right now as we speak, PSG injury list is growing. Now they have 8 players, equal amount, just like Chelsea. 8 players injured. Yes, Fabian Ruiz is injured. João Neves is injured. Cavachalia is injured. Vitna is injured. Makino is injured. Desire Due is injured. And Osman Dembele. These are all players that are out of the PSG team. So the two teams that met in the Club World Cup finals, they are facing injury crisis right now. It's not just Chelsea. That tells you that the Club World Cup is actually impacted on the health of the players, their fitness level. Ladies and gentlemen, we now know Cole Palmer is out until after the international break. Levakoa is out. Yes. Badashile is not yet back. Yes. Disasi is not he's not in the club yet. Wesley Fofana. Yes. Who else? Mention them. We have about 8 or 9 players that are currently on injury. Dilap. So, guys, I'm hoping for a positive news though today from Maresca. Now let's get to what is the club ownership saying. I don't have time. In 3 minutes, I'm leaving. What is the ownership saying about the club right now? And Maresca's position. Is Maresca going to be sacked anytime soon? Last season, we understand and we heard clearly that Maresca will only be assessed at the end of this season. Last season, we were made to understand that there was no way they were going to judge Maresca based on last season. It is at the end of this season that Maresca's performance will be assessed. So, after all said and done, over the weekend, this is the belief within the club. Chelsea have full confidence in Enzo Maresca and their head coach. And their head coach is not under any extra pressure, despite a relatively disappointing start to the season, according to the report we are receiving. Chelsea have lost only 5 times in 6 months. We've lost only 5 times in 6 months. Yes, and it's true. It's true. The only game they have lost since April, when it has been 11 versus 11, was against Bayern Munich last week. The only game Chelsea lost when it was 11 versus 11 was against Bayern Munich last week. Now, there is an expectation result will improve when Chelsea cut out the red cards and when key players start returning from injury. The red card in the past 2 games were a result of attempts to stop goal-scoring opportunities. Attempt to stop goal-scoring opportunities rather than Nicholas Jackson's indiscipline against Newcastle United in May and Flamengo in June in the Conference League. In the Club World Cup. Liam Delap is expected to return in 8 weeks from now, and Cole Palmer does not need groin surgery. And therefore, he'll be expected to return next month, that is in October, after the international break. Chelsea have won one of their past 5 games only. Now, there is no need to hit the panic button yet, according to the report. The target for Maresca's side remains qualifying for the Champions League this season and challenging for all trophies in all competitions they are playing in this season. And his players will be fully evaluated at the end of the season. Not in September, not in October, but after 6 league games, there's no way the team will be judged, according to the report. They qualified for the Champions League and won 2 trophies last season. Chelsea believe they have a stronger squad this season, and Maresca and his players are still well placed to build on last season's success. Maresca has been told the club are fully behind him and there is still all to play for in this season. Maresca has been told the club is fully behind him and there is still all to play for this season. Last season, they won only 2 league games between mid-December and the final week of February. But Chelsea kept faith with Maresca then, and they will do same right now as we speak. Ladies and gentlemen, my conclusion remarks. Last season, we were able to qualify for Champions League position. Actually, the hope was that we would be in Champions League. That could easily be 5th position. But we ended up 4th on the league table. This season, the target can never be 4th anymore. If last season we were 4th, then this season the target has to be the league title. That is it. The target has to be the league title this season. Because last season we had 4th position and we have improved the squad. And therefore, there must be better results this season. Can we use Benfica to kickstart our season? Mourinho's side is very possible. I'll see you guys after the press conference, guys. Shalom and peace.